About mm, two. Yeah, it's all right. No rush, but I want to make sure you have a chance to get a swallow of water before the mental meal starts in about 2 minutes. Yeah. Morning, Jeff. Okay. All right. Good. Welcome to our new mental meal on Saturday mornings. So I'm very, very happy about this. Puts us in a better position as far as lighting goes, temperature, a lot of different things. And plus, you get a better version of me in the morning than afternoon because I start my day at 4. By 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon, I'm just dust. I don't. Half the time I'm 50%, 60% at best. Um, so what I want to do this morning is we're going to just do a little bit of coming together work, and then we're going to work on a couple of things. Uh, I want to break down set 3 of the fire set today, and that'll probably be enough. So uh, let's just start, bring it together, a good posture in a active rest posture. When you're in this posture, I'm gonna turn a little bit. Ryan, you just kind of you demonstrate for online, so come right over here just a little bit. There you go. So I can see you. All right. Just make sure that when you sit into this posture, it's always good to stand. If you're standing being still, you're working. All right. So I'm never saying that uh it's wrong. Okay. If you're being upright, quiet, and still, you're doing work. Good start. To enhance that, improve upon that, put your mind into that work a little bit. So bend your knees a little so you feel like you're sitting on a bar stool. Okay. When it comes to the arms, make sure they're round so that it almost feels like you're gathering hay up, right? And you're holding it in there. Okay. That's 2. Okay. And then 3 is make sure that the palms are active. We do a lot with our hands. Anytime we have a thought, you did it. That's mine, right? The hands actively, naturally will do things. So if you have a thought, the hands will respond, the fingertips particularly, right? So when you're holding this, imagine almost as if you're, I like to think about holding a loaf of bread and I'm holding the ends and gently squeezing the ends at the same time I'm holding the hay. And then I sit in the chair and I just sit there and massage for a few minutes. As I said before, there is no bad practice. So if you just are standing and breathing, you're already on the right track. You want to add a little bit more to it, put your mind into the work a little differently, than having the sensations in this resting act of what I call lifting the hay and squeezing the bread, or you sit on the bar stool. Adds just a little bit more to the work. Good. Now let the hands float up to about the level of your heart. This one I keep pretty much the same. I mean, like I said, you can stand here and breathe, and let's say you're going to do 9 breaths. That's good, and that's a great start. Maybe you build up to 21, and you build up some mental strength and some physical strength. You can stay right there with that sort of work, or you can enhance this one. And this one, my normal go-to or stock imagery is I'm squeezing on a fitness ball, one of those big round. I'm squeezing that thing, okay, and at the same time, I have a football between my hands, and I'm squeezing it, so it feels like a pulsing in and a squeezing of the fingertips and the arms, like so. You don't have to do it very strenuously. In fact, I'd recommend you don't. Not unless you've got a lot of practice under your belt. Good. This time, as you exhale, just let the hands float down to the side, palms toward the earth. No hurry, no slack. Good. Bring it to the back to the rest. Good. Ryan, let's you and I change a little bit. You get over here and I'll get here. There we go. Okay, you all will be following Ryan. You online will be following me. You can see everybody else at the same time. So what we're going to do is you're going to turn to your right and brush knee. Get a good posture here. Now in set 3 of the FireSet, this is your first posture. It is a staple in the Tai Chi, along with parting horses, mane, cloud hand, single whip. It is one of the main techniques, which also implies it's got many uses. In your mind, you can work out a lot of different things. I've used a lot of props in the past when I had to practice by myself so I could get a better feel for it. But one of the things, if I'm with Ryan, for example, is, if I'm measuring him, I'd like to make sure that my hand is just past, no more than one thumb print away from my thigh. Okay. I like for the hand to be parallel to the thigh with no crimps or crooks in it, right? The fingertips are somewhat rounded, almost like they were gently grasping something. So the thumb drops down. We call that the dragon claw, right? So it's not like a brick, like some godforsaken karate chop trying to break a brick or something, right? And the sensation should be out and away this way, about 5 pounds. If you're not sure what 5 pounds is, just if you lay a Coke can on a countertop and you take your hand and you press it in so the can bends in half, that's about 7 pounds of pressure. Okay, takes about 10 to break that bone right there. So you want about 5 right here. This hand, I like for it to be extended about level the height of the heart, not in front of the heart. You'll notice that when you put it in front of the heart, it crimps out the shoulder. Okay. You want it to be naturally extended off of the shoulder so it feels like the core is activated and this is pushing out. In this case, it's just a palm thrust. So it's a brush knee with a palm thrust. Later on, you do things like a brush knee with a spear fist. You can do a brush knee with a strike, a brush knee with an elbow, right? There's a lot of things you can do with the brush knee. You can also practice throwing with the brush knee, okay? Which is one of my favorites, is to bump in and to imagine them brushing through, okay? So you can have that torquing rotationary imagery in there. Everything I just taught you in the posting earlier. But when you're standing there, first just try to get the posture right and then try to put some life into it based on what you want, okay? All right, so here, okay? Now what we're going to do to get to the other side is we're going to do a little technique called the white snake stretches out, for you grapplers, or, it's just basically an underhook. So you sit back, underhook, turn, and there you go. Get your hip involved. If you were imagining someone was on your hip and you're throwing, step out, rotate the hip and turn. Ryan, let me know when you've done about 9 breaths, okay? That looks good, Jeff. Just a little bit more forward intention. Yes. Yep. Good. Good. So it's not quite lagging back here. It'd be right up in here. So it has this sensation that you're throwing out from here out. Good. Good. Looks good, Kathy. Just extend this down a bit right here. Good. Just down a little bit. Extend that out there, Bader. Good. Don't crimp it. Now put a little life in it. Like that. Hold my wrist. Gently. Caress my wrist. Don't be grabby. That looks beautiful. Good. Extend that out just a little bit, Bob. Good. That looks good. Real good. Good. Where are we at, Ryan? One more breath. Good. All right, so there you are. Let's pull it in, bring it back to neutral. Just for a moment, give yourself a little breath. All right, before we move on, that's the first technique in the 3rd set. Any questions or observations? Oh, okay. So the next one is where we turn our belly buttons to the right and we come up into the golden rooster. Okay, we'll do about 5 breaths here. Ideally, I like for the instep to be close to the knee, not touching the knee, but close to the knee. And usually in the form, we'll hold this for at least a count of 5. I'd encourage you to build yourself up to about 30 seconds. Of course, doing it on the unlevel ground is a much bigger challenge. As we get older, this skill right here is indispensable. Okay. Now we're going to go into the next technique. And as far as breakdown on this one before we go, try to get the elbow. If you really want to push it, try to get the knee up to the elbow without torquing yourself down. Don't torque down. Try to get that hip flexor. Yes, there you go. So you have that one where you just get the foot off the ground, then to the knee, and then try to touch that elbow. Good. Then drop it back. Take that foot, drop it back into your hand lift. Okay. Now this one tends to get overlooked a lot. You're real weighted, toe up, heel down. Okay. And I'm going to give you a couple of things to think about. First is just get this posture correct. So by correct, we want this hand to be in line with our foot. Okay. The palm, again, with life, not stiff. Your other hand is just at the level of the heart, just inside of it. Okay. Now, this technique is utilized a lot. Just stay right there as I demonstrate. All right. The first thing is that you can use a lot with the idea that you're using it as an attack mode where you're just popping in. Now we have the rake hands, and then Sifu, this was one of his favorites, right? Besides the rake hands, was just to jam in. Okay. The other thing we use a lot for is we know that when we do single whips, we have follow-ups to single whip in case it doesn't work out or if we need to progress. Cloud hands, hand drop to knee, lotus kicks, all these sorts of things. Hand lift, in most forms, you'll see it follows brush knee. Okay. And so a lot of times when you get in to do a brush knee, if things don't work and he feels it coming, sorry about that, the hand lift pops right out. So what and we have a yin and yang. So if I'm coming in with the brush knee, for example, and he pushes me down, I feel this force pushing my hand off. So I just let it go where it's trying to go. I can do it a number of ways. I can take it this way, as long as I feel it, then the brush knee, the hand lift will follow up your brush knees just like so. Okay. So it's one of those little peas and carrots things. You'll see that a lot in the Tai Chi. All right. So from here, we're here. Okay. So we're going to turn it over. Okay. And let's just walk it right up into your golden rooster on the other side. Checking the clock. Golden rooster barefoot on anthill is no fun. Work it at your level. Let's drop it back into your hand lift. Good. Ryan, give me 9 breaths, okay? Good, Jeff. This hand's level your heart. Good. And remember this feeling. All right. Push in just a little. There you go. Good. Looks good, Kat. A little life here. The center palm, the Lao Gong of the rear hand points to the elbow of the yang hand. Good. You're a little offline. Notice how your hand and eyes are over here. Look where your toes point. Good. That's great, Scott. Well, that's why we check it, right? I mean, that's why we practice. And it's something that you'll never fix in movement if you don't fix it in stillness. Yeah, well, we keep working. You look great. Something bit you right there. Yeah, right. Good. Center the palm. Just a little. You like for your wrist or your palm to be just past your toe. Okay. And the center of this palm at that elbow. Where are we at, Ryan? Good. A little more life. Feel this side. It's all clamped down. Good. Good. Just bring it back to, turn it to the front to a rest. So that's the 3 techniques of the 3rd set. So if that being said, let's flow through just the 3rd set all by itself, okay? So we're going to lean a little bit to our left, turn our body to the right, into the brush knee. Good. Now, sink into your front leg so that the left side empties, and then you can bring it up into the golden rooster. Then drop it back into your hand lift. Remember, have that squeezing feel a little bit. Then from here, listen to the seashell. Turn your body to the left. Slide your body weight out into your left brush knee. Check yourself. We're never in a rush. No hurry, no slack. Okay, empty into that front leg a little. Bring it up to your golden rooster. Good. Drop it back with that right leg. Sit into it. Good. Give me 2 breaths. With life, please. And if we were finishing up on the 3rd set, all we would do is we'd turn, push the sky, step out, gather the clouds. When you bring this up, bring your legs underneath you, lift up. Hold the lift. It's called a cross hands. Bring your feet together. Then as you drop the hands, press your hands toward the earth, your head toward the sky. Good. Okay. Any observations or questions with any of those techniques? No? Okay. Well, then I'll expect demonstrations here in just a minute. Okay. All right. For those of you online, you can practice. You can practice. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that putting life into it's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it is. You know, she said that putting life into it makes it much more challenging. Right. And having some ideas of techniques or pressures can be very helpful. Yesterday, one of the things I used to do a lot, I did it with some of the folks in Pinehurst yesterday, is, you know, for example, you don't have a mitt or a ball or anything, do you? Nah. Well, so where's a pine cone? Grab me a pine cone. We go with what we got. Okay. Yeah, right. Because I'm gonna throw it at you. Good idea. Just stay right there. All right. So I'm gonna do it this way, and I'll do it the other way. You know, I would use things to help me because you know, in high school and a little bit in college, I would do the shot put a lot. Right. And if you've ever done the shot put, it is a power exercise, right? It's a power movement. But if I'm doing the brush knees and I start doing my dragon stirs to sea and then I roll, I'm looking for a sensation that I'm just taking this and roll And I'm not trying to hum it. You notice in this case, I'm not trying to pitch it. I'm just trying to have that feeling that my framework and everything is moving. And I finish up pretty much right where I'd like to start. Now, if I did the other side, oh no, stay right here. I'm sorry. If I did the other hand, the brush knee hand, when I roll this, I like for it to have that feel that it's going out that way. All right. So that when I roll, it doesn't need to go far. It just needs to go that way. Forward and out about 45 degrees is usually what I would look for without being wristy, right? I'm not trying to flick it with my wrist. I'm just holding the logon. And then when I turn, that's the sensation I'm looking for. That's how I would check myself when I didn't have a classmate available. All right. You can do the same thing against a pole or a tree, and check yourself that way. But that helps you put life into it. Okay? And I just can't help you. Tell you enough. I would, hold a Nerf ball. I would try to get up here and put one of those big Nerfs between my leg and try to, squish it and hold it, right? Things like that. Okay. All right. And then Sifu Chin would often tell us, and a lot of these came from him, right? Not the exercises specifically, but putting your mind and your body into your work. As he would often say, if you want me to teach you, inspire me that you're learning. Okay. If you're just waiting around to be fed like some whining baby, it doesn't inspire me. It didn't inspire him. So dig into your work and you'll find new things. Okay. Keep it going. All right. Y'all have a great day online.